Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
What if the royal love story we thought we knew was hiding dark secrets? A shocking discovery has surfaced. Queen Camilla's private diary, rumored to contain explosive details about King Charles. From secret scandals to untold truths about their controversial romance. This diary could change everything we know about the British monarchy. What terrifying revelations could it hold?
Did you find it harrowing?
I did find it, and I think what made it so readable was your writing, your prose, your descriptions of nature.
Buckle up, because this royal drama is about to get even more scandalous. Stay tuned for the jaw-dropping details. Charles and Camilla first meet, 1970. It was the summer of 1970 when Prince Charles, the future King of England, met Camilla Shand for the very first time. The encounter happened at a polo match in Windsor Great Park, a setting that couldn't have been more fitting for a royal romance to begin. The air was filled with excitement, horses galloping, and laughter echoing across the field. Among the crowd stood Camilla, a confident and witty young woman who would soon capture the attention of the young prince. As the story goes, their meeting wasn't just casual, it was electric. Charles was immediately drawn to Camilla's charm and humor. Unlike many others in royal circles, Camilla didn't treat Charles as just a prince. She spoke to him like a regular person, and her down-to-earth personality made her stand out. She reportedly broke the ice with a cheeky joke that caught Charles off guard. Camilla reminded him that their great-grandmothers had both been mistresses to the same king. Her boldness left Charles both amused and intrigued, and the two hit it off instantly. Camilla, who was 23 at the time, wasn't from a royal family, but she came from an aristocratic background. She'd grown up around horses, countryside parties, and the kind of life that made her comfortable in the royal world. Charles, on the other hand, was just starting to step into his role as the Prince of Wales, balancing the weight of royal duties with his personal desires. Meeting Camilla felt like a breath of fresh air for him. Over the next few months, Charles and Camilla spent more time together, and their relationship began to blossom. They shared a love for the countryside, polo, and good conversation. Camilla had a way of making Charles feel at ease, something he deeply valued as the pressures of royal life surrounded him. Friends of the couple at the time said their chemistry was undeniable, but their love story hit its first obstacle not long after it began. Charles's royal duties called him away to serve in the Royal Navy, and their relationship was put on hold. While Charles was away, Camilla rekindled her romance with Andrew Parker Bowles, whom she would later marry. Though their love story didn't take off at the time, that first meeting in 1970 set the stage for decades of connection, heartbreak, and eventual reconciliation. It was the beginning of a royal relationship that would go on to shape history. Camilla marries Andrew Parker Bowles, 1973. The year was 1973, and the British social scene was buzzing with excitement. Camilla Shand, a young woman with a sharp wit and a warm personality, was set to marry Andrew Parker Bowles, a handsome and charming officer in the British Army. Their wedding was the talk of the town, and it became one of the most glamorous social events of the year. But behind the smiles and celebration, there was an untold story of love, heartbreak, and what might have been. Camilla and Andrew had been in an on-again, off-again relationship for several years. Andrew, who was known for his good looks and charisma, had many admirers, and their relationship wasn't always smooth. Despite the ups and downs, Camilla seemed deeply taken with him. She was ready to settle down and start a family, and Andrew appeared to be the perfect match for her. However, what many didn't know at the time was that another man, Prince Charles, had already captured Camilla's heart just a few years earlier. Prince Charles and Camilla had met in 1970, and their connection was undeniable. They shared a bond that was rare and unique, but timing was not on their side. Charles's royal duties required him to join the Royal Navy, which meant he had to leave Camilla behind. In his absence, Camilla rekindled her romance with Andrew, and their relationship grew stronger. When Charles returned, it was too late. Camilla and Andrew's engagement had already been announced. On July 4, 1973, Camilla and Andrew tied the knot in a grand ceremony at the Guards' Chapel in London. The wedding was attended by high society, including members of the royal family. Camilla looked radiant in her white dress, smiling as she walked down the aisle. From the outside, it seemed like a perfect fairy tale. However, those close to Camilla knew that Charles was never far from her thoughts. Despite marrying Andrew, Camilla and Charles remained friends. They stayed in touch, and their bond remained strong even as they built separate lives. Camilla and Andrew went on to have 2 children, Tom and Laura, but their marriage was far from perfect. Charles and Camilla's affair resumes. The story of Prince Charles and Camilla Shand had always been complicated, but by the mid-1980s it took an explosive turn. Although Camilla had married Andrew Parker Bowles in 1973, and Charles had tied the knot with Lady Diana Spencer in 1981, the connection between Charles and Camilla never truly disappeared. Behind the grand royal events and public appearances, their bond remained strong, and by 1986, their affair had quietly resumed. At this point, Charles and Diana's marriage was already struggling. What had started as a fairy tale union was now filled with tension, misunderstandings, and unhappiness. Diana was aware of Charles's lingering feelings for Camilla, which only added to the cracks in their relationship. Charles, feeling increasingly distant from Diana, found comfort in the arms of the woman he had always turned to, Camilla. Their rekindled affair wasn't something that happened overnight. It began subtly, with Charles and Camilla spending more time together at social events and private gatherings. Camilla, who was still married to Andrew Parker Bowles, was a source of emotional support for Charles. She understood the pressures of his royal life in a way that Diana, still young and inexperienced at the time, struggled to grasp. For Charles, Camilla was more than just an old flame. She was a confidant, a friend, and someone he could rely on. As their relationship deepened, rumors of their affair began to spread. Friends and aides close to the couple noticed their growing closeness, and whispers about their meetings started to reach the public. Diana herself confronted Charles about his relationship with Camilla. The affair caused a ripple effect of pain and scandal. Diana's emotional struggles became more apparent, and her marriage to Charles continued to unravel. Meanwhile, Camilla faced her own challenges, as her relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles also began to break down. By the early 1990s, the affair was no longer a secret, and the media frenzy surrounding it became relentless. Looking back, the resumption of Charles and Camilla's affair in 1986 marked a turning point in the history of the British monarchy. It not only led to the eventual collapse of 2 marriages, but it also set the stage for decades of public and private drama. Their love, though controversial, would later endure and reshape the royal family in ways no one could have imagined. Charles marries Diana, 1981. It was July 29, 1981, when the world witnessed what seemed like the perfect fairy tale. Prince Charles, heir to the British throne, married Lady Diana Spencer in a grand ceremony that captured the hearts of millions. With over 750 million people watching on television worldwide, it was called the Wedding of the Century. The union between the shy 20-year-old Diana and the 32-year-old prince appeared magical. But beneath the surface, the story was far more complicated. The wedding itself was nothing short of spectacular. St. Paul's Cathedral, chosen for its larger capacity compared to Westminster Abbey, was packed with royals, dignitaries, and celebrities. Diana arrived in a glass carriage, wearing a stunning ivory silk gown with a 25-foot train, designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel. The sight of her stepping out of the carriage became one of the most iconic images in royal history. The young bride looked every bit the princess she was about to become, and the crowd erupted in cheers as she made her way down the aisle. Charles, dressed in his naval uniform, waited at the altar, appearing calm and composed. The couple exchanged vows, though there were small, telling signs of nerves. Diana famously mixed up Charles's name during the ceremony, calling him Philip Charles Arthur George, instead of Charles Philip Arthur George. It was a minor mistake, but it hinted at the underlying stress of the day. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. The streets of London were lined with thousands of well-wishers waving flags, and the reception was a grand affair. The couple's kiss on the balcony of Buckingham Palace became a defining moment, replayed countless times in the media, Diana, with her natural charm and beauty, quickly won over the public, earning her title as the People's Princess. However, while the world celebrated, the marriage itself was built on shaky ground. Charles and Diana had only met 12 times before getting engaged. Their relationship lacked a deep emotional connection, and Charles's lingering feelings for his former flame, Camilla Parker Bowles, cast a shadow over their union. Diana, though smitten with Charles, would later reveal how lonely and isolated she felt. Diana confronts Camilla about the affair. By the late 1980s, Princess Diana could no longer ignore the growing distance between her and Prince Charles. Whispers of an ongoing secret between Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles had turned into louder rumors. Though Diana had always sensed that Charles's heart belonged to someone else, she decided to face the situation head-on. In 1989, she gathered the courage to confront Camilla at a birthday party, an event that would become legendary in royal history. Many well-known figures had gathered for a celebration in London, unaware that the evening would take a dramatic turn. The party was held for Camilla's sister, but the happy occasion had a tense undertone. Diana, feeling increasingly isolated and hurt, chose this moment to speak directly to the woman she believed was threatening her marriage. It was a small gathering, which made it easier for Diana to corner Camilla in a quiet corner, away from the main party. Diana approached Camilla with determination, her heart pounding. Despite her nerves, she spoke calmly, but firmly. She famously said, "I know what's going on. Don't treat me like I'm stupid." People who later heard about this confrontation often wondered how Camilla reacted to being challenged by the Princess of Wales. According to Diana's own accounts, Camilla tried to maintain her composure, but the tension in the air was undeniable. The conversation that followed was brief but powerful. Diana made it clear she wanted no secrets in her marriage, and that she deserved honesty from both Charles and Camilla. In some reports, Camilla replied that Diana had everything she could want: fame, beauty, and 2 beautiful sons. Diana, however, saw these words as dismissive and hurtful, feeling that Camilla was undermining her emotional needs. This confrontation was a key moment in Diana's life. Though she didn't end the affair that very night, she took a brave step by standing up for herself and her children. The media would later learn of this face-to-face meeting, adding more fuel to the already intense coverage of the royal marriage. For Diana, it was a moment of releasing pent-up anger and sadness. In the years that followed, the tension between Diana, Charles, and Camilla grew stronger, eventually leading to tabloid headlines around the world. Yet, this single evening at a birthday party remained a turning point. Diana's confrontation showed her willingness to fight for her dignity, even if it meant challenging the very traditions and expectations that had long defined royal life. Charles and Diana live separate lives, 1986. Charles and Diana's marriage started like a fairy tale, but by 1986, the cracks were impossible to ignore. Instead of sharing a warm and loving bond, the Prince and Princess of Wales seemed more like strangers under the same roof. Friends, staff, and even the public noticed that the couple was drifting apart. The magic of their 1981 wedding was gone, replaced by long periods of living separate lives both in and out of the palace. At the time, Diana was a global icon. Her warmth and compassion shone during royal events, charity visits, and public engagements. People adored her for her natural charm and stylish outfits. However, behind the scenes, she felt lonely and misunderstood. Charles, meanwhile, continued his royal duties and focused on his private interests, like polo and gardening. He spent more time in the countryside, enjoying peaceful retreats and the company of close friends. Their busy schedules offered an easy cover for how little time they actually spent together. Though both tried to keep up appearances for the sake of tradition and their roles, tensions were growing. Rumors about Diana's unhappiness and Charles's connection with Camilla Parker Bowles only added more strain. Diana's heartfelt attempts to find emotional support from Charles often went unanswered, and Charles, feeling pressured by royal expectations, withdrew even further. As a result, the two formed separate routines, rarely sharing intimate moments or genuine conversations. Even at public events, keen observers could sense the distance between them. Photographers captured moments when Diana stood a few steps away, looking isolated, while Charles appeared engaged with others. Their differing interests became more obvious. Diana preferred spending time with her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, and focusing on charitable work. Charles found solace in quiet hobbies and deep conversations that did not always include Diana. By the end of 1986, it was clear to insiders that the royal couple had practically become roommates, not partners. They lived their daily lives in different parts of palaces, rarely meeting except for official events or planned family moments. Despite efforts by the royal family to deny any serious marital problems, rumors circulated across newspapers and magazines, intensifying the pressure on both Charles and Diana. Diana's Panorama interview, 1995. Diana's Panorama interview, 1995, was a moment that caught the world by surprise and changed the way people viewed the royal family. It aired on November 20th, 1995, on the BBC program Panorama, hosted by journalist Martin Bashir. Millions of people tuned in to watch Princess Diana speak openly about her life, her marriage to Prince Charles, and the pressures of being in the public eye. This was the first time a member of the royal family had given such a frank and personal interview on national television. From the beginning, Diana showed a calm and gentle manner, even though the topics were deeply personal. She spoke about feeling isolated and misunderstood within the royal household. She also confessed to struggling with bulimia, a condition she linked to the stress and emotional pain she felt. Diana's openness on these private matters showed her willingness to connect with ordinary people who faced similar struggles. Perhaps the most remembered part of the interview was Diana's honest talk about her marriage problems. At one point, she famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," referring to Prince Charles's long-running connection with Camilla Parker Bowles. This direct statement seemed to confirm the rumors about Charles and Camilla's affair. Hearing Diana speak these words on national television shocked the audience and the royal establishment. During the interview, Diana also talked about her role in the royal family, suggesting that they saw her as a threat rather than an ally. She described feeling unsupported by palace staff and felt that her accomplishments were overshadowed by royal protocol. Diana expressed that she wanted to be a queen in people's hearts, suggesting that she cared more about helping others than about official titles and positions. The public reaction to Diana's Panorama interview was huge. People felt both sympathy and admiration for her honesty. Many applauded Diana for daring to speak about private matters, while others criticized the BBC for giving her such a platform to reveal the inner workings of the royal family. For the royal household, the interview was a crisis that raised questions about how to handle such a frank admission of marital issues and personal pain. In the days and weeks after the interview, tensions grew within the monarchy, and discussions about Diana and Charles's future intensified. By the following year, the two finalized their divorce. Diana's Panorama interview remains a defining moment in modern royal history, a rare instance when a royal figure chose to break tradition and directly tell the world her side of the story. Diana's tragic death. In the early hours of August 31st, 1997, the world lost a beloved figure, Diana, Princess of Wales. She was just 36 years old. That night, Diana was in Paris with her companion, Dodi Fayed. They were traveling in a Mercedes-Benz limousine when their driver, Henri Paul, sped through the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, attempting to escape pursuing paparazzi. Inside the car were Diana, Dodi, Henri, and bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones. Suddenly, the car lost control and crashed into a pillar inside the tunnel. Dodi Fayed and Henri Paul died at the scene. Diana was rushed to the Pitié-Salpêtrière hospital, where doctors worked tirelessly to save her. Tragically, she succumbed to her injuries a few hours later. Only Trevor Rees-Jones survived, though he was badly hurt. Initial police reports revealed that Henri Paul had high levels of alcohol in his blood. The paparazzi on motorbikes had been chasing the car, hoping to get photos, and were quickly blamed by the public for their role in the tragedy. When the news of Diana's death reached the public, shock and grief spread around the globe. People could not believe that the people's princess, known for her warmth and compassion, was gone. Crowds began to gather outside Kensington Palace in London, leaving piles of flowers, letters, and gifts as tributes. Newspapers worldwide carried headlines of disbelief and sorrow. In the days leading up to her funeral, the nation found itself overcome with mourning. On September 6, 1997, Diana's funeral took place at Westminster Abbey. A solemn procession guided her coffin through the streets of London, with her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, walking behind. Seeing the two young princes following their mother's coffin brought many to tears. Crowds lined the route, and millions more watched the proceedings on television. Elton John performed a moving rendition of Candle in the Wind, which he had reworked to honor Diana. Diana's death sparked new discussions about the heightened role of the media and paparazzi in the lives of public figures. Many felt that the relentless pursuit for tabloid photos had gone too far. At the same time, people praised Diana's charitable work and genuine kindness. In the months and years that followed, her legacy inspired changes in how the royal family engaged with the public, and how the press approached the private lives of famous individuals. Charles and Camilla marry, 2005. In April 2005, after decades of ups and downs, Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles finally made their love official. The couple's relationship had been in the spotlight for many years, stirring controversy and debate across the United Kingdom. However, their bond had proven too strong to be broken by public scandals, royal expectations, or even the tragic death of Princess Diana. When the announcement of their engagement came, many people were surprised, but also curious about how exactly the royal wedding would unfold for a couple with such a long history. The wedding was initially set to take place on April 8, 2005, at Windsor Castle, but had to be postponed by one day, so Prince Charles could attend Pope John Paul II's funeral in Rome. On April 9th, the couple held a civil ceremony at Windsor Guildhall, followed by a blessing at St. George's Chapel. Queen Elizabeth II did not attend the civil ceremony, but she joined the family for the blessing and later hosted a reception. The mood was joyful yet modest, reflecting their desire for a subdued celebration. Despite the years of public scrutiny, many people were happy to see Charles and Camilla finally wed. Their mutual affection was clear, and the simpler wedding format highlighted their wish for a more private celebration. Camilla took the title of Duchess of Cornwall instead of Princess of Wales, a decision made out of respect for Diana's memory and the public's lingering feelings. Though some critics remained skeptical, the couple's union gained acceptance over time as they took on more royal duties together. In the months and years following their marriage, Charles and Camilla continued to shape their public roles. They supported various charities, traveled for state visits, and appeared together at cultural and social events. While Charles focused on environmental issues and youth programs, Camilla championed literacy, women's rights, and the well-being of animals. Over time, their team approach began to soften public opinion, and an increasing number of people saw Camilla less as an interloper and more as a loyal partner to the future king. For Charles, the marriage marked a new chapter in his personal life, fulfilling a desire delayed by past controversies. When Queen Elizabeth II eventually gave her approval, it signaled that even the strict royal tradition could adapt to modern changes. As the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla showed her dedication to her new royal duties, engaging with the public and supporting causes dear to her and Charles. Their wedding stood as proof that love can endure, even after years of challenges and heartbreak. Modern status of Camilla and Charles. Charles and Camilla's relationship has transformed significantly over the years. From a scandal that shook the royal family to their eventual marriage in 2005, they have now become a steady presence at the heart of the monarchy. With Charles ascending to the throne as King Charles III after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, Camilla holds the title of Queen, signaling a remarkable shift from her earlier public image as the Duchess of Cornwall. Their story is one of both personal and royal evolution, marked by changing public attitudes and growing acceptance. Today, Charles and Camilla focus on their royal duties, while also showing a more relaxed and approachable side. King Charles, known for his passion for environmental issues, continues to champion causes such as climate change, sustainable farming, and the protection of wildlife. Camilla, meanwhile, has become a strong advocate for literacy programs and charities focusing on domestic violence and osteoporosis awareness. People are seeing her as a supportive and hardworking royal figure, quite different from the controversial figure she once was in the media. An important part of their modern status involves their public appearances, which display a respectful and warm partnership. They are often seen together at official functions, greeting diplomats, meeting with local leaders, and engaging with charity representatives. Both are comfortable with each other's presence, and their relaxed interactions hint at a deep understanding built over many years. This contrasts with the formal and sometimes distant image royals have had in the past, reflecting the more open and modern style they bring to the crown. As king and queen, Charles and Camilla's approach to leadership within the royal family highlights the values they hold dear. Charles remains focused on maintaining the monarchy's relevance in a rapidly changing world, while Camilla uses her platform to shine a light on everyday issues people face. They support each other's projects, attend joint events, and often speak with genuine interest to those they meet, helping to humanize the royal institution. Public opinion of the couple has gradually softened, especially compared to the intense criticism they faced years ago. While some still remember the past controversies, many have come to respect Charles's lifelong commitment to public service and Camilla's dedication to charitable work. Their marriage is viewed less as a royal scandal and more as a story of two people who eventually found acceptance and happiness together. Something big has happened in the royal family. Queen Camilla, the woman who stood beside King Charles, is now facing a shocking end. A decision has been made, and there's no way for her to escape it. The palace, once full of power and control, is now filled with whispers and tension. For years, people have talked about her, some with respect, others with anger. But now, everything has changed. The news has spread like wildfire, and the truth can no longer be hidden. What really happened? Why is this the end for her? This is not just another royal story. This is the moment that changes everything. What led to the sentencing? No one ever imagined Queen Camilla's royal journey would take such a sharp and dramatic turn. For years, she had been standing strong next to King Charles, fulfilling her royal duties and slowly winning over the public. But things don't always go as planned, especially within the British royal family, where one wrong move can change everything forever. It all started like a small rumor, something people didn't take seriously at first. But in a matter of days, it turned into one of the biggest royal scandals of our time. It was a journalist who first revealed the shocking truth. He claimed to have undeniable proof that Camilla had been secretly working on a personal memoir, a tell-all book about her life inside the royal walls. This wasn't going to be another sweet story about royal events or charitable works. No, this book was different. It promised to reveal private secrets, secret conversations, and the royal family's hidden moments that were never meant to reach the public. Even worse, the journalist claimed that a whole chapter was dedicated to Camilla's private feelings about Princess Diana, including moments that had remained buried for decades. At first, the palace refused to comment. Many thought it was just another gossip piece, something the tabloids created to stir drama. But soon after, more sources confirmed it. People who had seen parts of the draft claimed it was explosive. It didn't just talk about Charles and Camilla's relationship, but also touched on sensitive topics like Diana's struggles, private fights within the family, and even Camilla's secret thoughts about Prince William and Prince Harry. This wasn't just a book. It was a bombshell. Behind the palace gates, the atmosphere was tense. King Charles was reportedly devastated. He had fought for years to have Camilla accepted as his queen, and now, just months after receiving the title, she was accused of betraying him and the entire family. Prince William was said to be furious. To him, this wasn't just a betrayal. It was a direct attack on his late mother's memory. Sources close to the family revealed that William demanded action. He felt that if Camilla truly wrote those things, there was no way she could remain queen. Even Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who had distanced themselves from the royal family, were rumored to be watching closely. Some said they were quietly amused, feeling that the same royal family who once turned their back on them was now facing its own nightmare. Others said Meghan reached out privately to William, though that remains unconfirmed. The palace knew they couldn't stay silent any longer. Meetings were held behind closed doors. Lawyers, advisors, and senior royals gathered to decide Camilla's fate. And then came the announcement that no one expected. Queen Camilla was to be sentenced. The sentence explained. What does it really mean? When the public first heard the word sentence, many assumed Camilla was facing legal action. Some even thought she might go to prison. But in the royal world, punishment looks very different. There was no court, no judge, no prison. Instead, there was something far worse: complete removal from royal life. The royal family released a carefully worded statement. It didn't directly admit the truth of the memoir, but made it clear that Camilla had broken their trust. And so, the queen consort was stripped of all her royal duties. Overnight, Camilla disappeared from the royal calendar. No more public appearances, no more speeches, no more smiling beside Charles at official events. After years of working hard to build her image, it was all gone in a heartbeat. The punishment didn't stop there. Camilla was also asked to leave the royal residences. She could no longer stay at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, or Balmoral. These places, which had once been her home, were now off limits. Reports suggest she was sent to a private estate, far from London, hidden away from cameras and curious eyes. Some say she left the country altogether, retreating to a quiet European village where no one would recognize her. Others believe she's somewhere deep in the countryside, living a life of complete isolation. The final blow came when the palace declared that Camilla would no longer be funded by taxpayers. For years, her royal expenses had been covered as part of her role. But now, that was over. She would no longer receive public money. Even more shocking, insiders whispered that King Charles was forced to agree to strip her of the title, Queen Consort. From now on, she would once again be known only as the Duchess of Cornwall, a clear sign that she had been officially erased from the highest position she had ever held. Many people were left wondering why the punishment was so harsh. After all, this was the woman Charles loved deeply, the one he waited decades to marry. But royal experts believe it was all about survival. The royal family has faced too many scandals in recent years: Prince Andrew, Harry and Meghan, and now Camilla. They knew they had to act fast and act strong to protect the crown. Some also say this was personal. Prince William, still haunted by the loss of his mother, may have pushed for the harshest sentence possible. He couldn't forgive Camilla for dragging Diana's name back into the spotlight. Others believe King Charles was left with no choice. Saving his reign meant sacrificing the woman he loved. What does this mean for the future of the monarchy? With Camilla gone, the royal family faces an uncertain future. For King Charles, this is possibly the biggest challenge of his reign. He spent years building Camilla's image, convincing the world she was fit to be queen. Now all that work has crumbled. His approval ratings have dropped, and many are questioning if he still has the strength to continue as king. Some believe this scandal could push him to step down sooner than expected, paving the way for Prince William to take the throne. The family itself is more divided than ever. This scandal has opened old wounds, especially between William and his father. There are whispers that they barely speak now, and that William feels betrayed all over again. Not just by Camilla, but by his father forever bringing her into their lives. As for Harry and Meghan, it remains unclear where they stand. Some say they feel vindicated, watching the royal family suffer the same public shame they once felt. Others believe they're staying silent, knowing that speaking out now could only make things worse. But out of this mess, one person seems to be rising stronger than ever: Princess Catherine. With Camilla gone, Kate has become the most powerful and beloved woman in the royal family. People are calling her the new People's Queen, saying that she represents everything the monarchy should stand for: grace, dignity, and respect. Many believe that this scandal has cleared the path for Kate to take on an even bigger role, one that could eventually see her as the face of the monarchy itself. There are also fears that this scandal could have lasting effects on the monarchy's image. Some experts believe that if the royal family keeps facing one crisis after another, it might push younger generations to turn their backs on the institution altogether. The question now is, can the monarchy survive this, or is this the beginning of the end? Camilla's final goodbye. Before disappearing from the public eye, Camilla released one final statement. It wasn't through the palace. It wasn't a grand speech or a carefully crafted video. Instead, it was a simple handwritten letter that made its way to the media. In it, Camilla wrote, "It is time for me to step back, forever. I never intended to bring harm to the monarchy, but I now see that my actions have caused pain. I will spend the rest of my days in quiet reflection. I ask for privacy as I move forward." Her words were soft, but the meaning was clear. Camilla knew her time was over. There was no apology, not really, but there was a sense of finality, as if she had accepted that her dream of being queen was now nothing more than a memory. Since then, no one has seen or heard from her. Some say she's living somewhere in France, while others believe she's hidden away in the English countryside. Wherever she is, one thing is certain: Camilla's royal chapter is closed. She is no longer part of the story, no longer standing beside the king, no longer in the spotlight. And just like that, the woman who once fought so hard to be queen said goodbye forever. Queen Camilla's time is over, and nothing will ever be the same again. The royal family has seen many scandals, but this one will be remembered for years. What happens next? Only time will tell.